Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Thank you for joining me today on Help Me Understand. In this episode, I'm going to be discussing the idea that protesting is not enough. I'm going to give you my personal thoughts, and I'll also be suggesting other ways to take action, step into your power, and lift up your community. So stay tuned. Let's dive in, you guys. So in this episode, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the idea that protesting and posting on social media isn't enough to make a difference for the general public and to push back against this political administration. Now, this episode comes to you after watching about 20 minutes of Adam Conover's podcast where he interviews Dana Fisher. They talk about this in the first portion of that show. And it started to feel like I needed to just make a statement regarding some of the conclusions that they were coming to about protesting and about posting online. Overall, they understand that protesting and posting online in and of itself is not enough to create change. We all sort of understand this. However, when we hear this statement, it can make us feel like powerless. It can make us feel like our actions and the things that we're passionate about aren't really doing anything. And that's disempowering. I want to change the perspective here and provide a little insight based on my personal experience as to why going to protests and posting on social media are in fact very powerful. I also want to touch on a piece of information that Dana goes into explaining during this interview. She is a data collector. She basically goes to large protests or protests in general and will interview the people that are there and understand their mood, why they're there, what they're passionate about, what they're protesting for, and what they hope to see. She also asks one very important question that comes up that's relevant to what we're discussing today. And that question is, do you feel like political violence may be a necessary step in creating change in the future? And her insights regarding this question were that dramatically the mood around this has shifted. Where in the past, 2017, 2018, those marches, they felt that peaceful protests without political violence were efficient and would make a change. Dana goes on to explain that the tone of the general public has shifted in recent months to people starting to feel that political violence might be the next best step in creating the change that they are looking for, citing events such as Stonewall and Luigi even, to prove the point that these political acts of violence have created some of the most substantial change that we've seen in our history. Now, she does go on to say that her political opinion is that the change that we want to create in this administration and for our fellow United States citizens, American citizens, can be done through political disobedience or civil disobedience. Now, I will go over some more details about what civil disobedience can look like in its many forms in a separate episode, but I'm going to talk about two important ones here on this episode, as well as my insights on how protests and social media posts can be positive and beneficial for everyone. So, in my personal experience, just the validation and unification amongst people online has given me the strength and courage to stand up for what's right in my own community, in my own life, and with people I would have never anticipated standing up to. This is where the phrase comes in that fits this movement so perfectly, and the phrase is, "No small action for humanity is too small." I want to just bring some attention to the amount of community building and camaraderie and validation that seeing others posting online can create, even if it is a sense of sacred rage, as I would like to say, the rage for justice to be done, for justice to be served. This feeling is a form of passion that can move a person to take actions that they might not have done before, which is me. I am starting this podcast. I have, like I said, had difficult conversations with people that I would have never had conversations with had I not felt like I was a part of a larger whole, had I not felt like I had community backing me up, had I not felt like I was valid in my concerns and valid in my pain for the heartbreak that I'm feeling for people in minority groups, much like myself. I also want to say that in addition to this, posting online for some is their only way of creating any type of political movement or taking any kind of action because they are unable to make it to their state's capital, or because of a physical disability, or because of a safety reason, even. For those of us that can make it to protests, the protests themselves are large groups of people all coming together for the same reason, usually. And this type of community building can create access to this energy of empowerment and this energy of overcoming that may not have been accessed by that person if they had not gone to the protest. This is extremely powerful because many people network during protests, many people get organized during protests. They start to see the large amounts of friends and families coming together for a common goal, which sparks this momentum for them internally that they may not have had before. Using my own experience, I'll say that just from engaging in activities on my own has helped me feel more courage and more knowledgeable about what's happening in this country. And it's allowed me to take bold, brave moves towards taking action in ways that I would have never had before. And I would not have gotten to where I am talking to you here now had I not first seen that first political post or that first viral protest or the live protest that people are posting and showing up to, that they're posting on their live streams. These are all important. Every single post you make it with the intention to move someone, to create passion for someone, to stand up for what's right. Because no small action is too small if it means creating a better circumstance for humanity. So if you're wondering, okay, what's the middle ground? How do I make a difference but not be violent? I'm not really wanting to do that. I'm not there for that yet. Let me give you some ideas. Number one, boycotting. Boycotting places like Target, Amazon, Walmart, HomeGoods, Amazon Prime, Nook, things like that, Coca-Cola, Marshalls, Sierra, Tesla, Starlink, just to name a few. When you boycott a major corporation, especially right now, because major corporations are owned by the men that want to get the tax breaks that allow them to continue to monopolize the industry, accumulate wealth, and pretty much starve out any person that's not operating that corporation. It's very disgusting. And when we take our money out of those places and start supporting each other and small businesses and family-owned businesses, we are voting every day with our dollars. And that is why that is so important, because we are already seeing that Tesla stocks are going down, and it's creating such an upheaval in the administration that the president himself had to showcase buying a Tesla on the lawn of the White House just to create a little bit more revenue for that billionaire. That is how important, that is how instrumental and influential boycotting can be. Let's move on towards a general strike. General strike is a second way that we can create civil disobedience. It's when a large group of people all stop working for one day or a set of days all together at the same time, and that creates more discomfort for the owners of those corporations, and it creates some lack of production and overall issues with the stocks and things like that. These general strikes usually have a large impact as long as enough people are doing them. So how do we get organized and all do this? It seems pretty easy. Just take a day off of work. Not a big one. Not a big deal. Well, there's a website called generalstrikeus.com. It is a website that is currently registering people for a large organized general strike. It needs to meet a certain amount of people for registration, which it has not met yet. But once it does, it will post the day that the general strike will occur, where everybody can take time off of work at the same time. It does need 3% of the national population to be effective. Once it hits that 3% number, which I think is 1.5 million people, I think it was. Forgive me, I'm paraphrasing. But once that occurs, that's when those dates will be set. You'll be sent an email. It'll tell you, it'll give you some time in advance, and then we can all participate. And then it may create additional days. There's also the People's Union of the United States, another great resource started by, oh man, I forgot his name, but he's a great resource as well, looking for similar results, basically unionizing the American citizens to help them make change and create a large statement to the United States. If you do visit the generalstrikeus.com website, you can click the Join the Movement button on the left-hand side of the screen. You enter in first and last name, zip code, email, and phone number, click Submit, and you are registered. It's as easy as that. So just to wrap things up, I want to remind you that no action is too small. No post is too small. No conversation is too small. Every single thing you choose to do with your energy, with your time, with your attention is going to make an impact. You just have to be intentional about it. You never know if what you're posting is going to spark that little sense of creativity in the person that reads it, or that little spark of action in the person that sees it. And it's important to recognize that in order to create these big movements, they have to start somewhere. If you're interested in creating change that is bigger than a social media post and maybe a more interactive way to engage with the political environment than a protest, my suggestion to you is to sign up for the General Strike us.com website. It is to boycott major corporations that are helping and supporting the people that are creating the environment that is making us uncomfortable and hurting us. And it's to get your voice out there. It is to call your reps, call your senators, send annoying faxes to those individuals in office, and to go to their town halls, make your voice heard. Go support Bernie on his tour of against the oligarchy. All of these things are going to help us feel like we have power, because if we do not feel like we are powerful, there's no way we can begin to do anything. We must first understand that there are power in numbers, there's power where we put our money, and that we can make a difference. Do not allow these messages saying that our protests are not enough to defer you from taking action or make you feel powerless. I just simply want to remind you that it's okay if you can't do some of those other things. Every little thing you do counts. It all matters. You are important, you are powerful, and we can do this.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.